As we get older, most of us try our best to eat healthier, adding more greens to our plates, cutting back on sugar, and following what we've always been told is good for us. But what if I told you that some of the very vegetables you've trusted for decades might be doing more harm than good, especially to your vision? Yes, I'm talking about everyday food sitting in your fridge right now. Foods you've eaten all your life without a second thought. But after age 60, your body changes, and so should your food choices. What used to help can now quietly hurt. And when it comes to your eyes, those changes can be devastating. In today's video, we're diving into 5 vegetables seniors in the US should avoid, and why. These aren't extreme theories. They're backed by science, clinical cases, and real experiences from patients across the country. Before we get into the details, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Elderly Health Tips. Every click helps us reach more seniors and protect more lives. Let's get started. Common vegetables in your kitchen that are silently damaging seniors' vision. After 60, let's find out together. Let's take a closer look at 1. Spinach. As a physician who's worked with aging patients across the US for more than 40 years, let me tell you something blunt but true. Some of the worst health damage comes not from what we eat, but from how we cook and store it. Spinach is one of the most misunderstood examples of this. Spinach is praised in every senior nutrition guide. Low-calorie, rich in iron, packed with fiber, full of antioxidants. But behind that reputation hides a serious risk, especially when it's cooked, stored overnight, and reheated. Spinach contains 250 to 300 milliliters of nitrates per 100 grams, based on USDA data. That's one of the highest among leafy greens, even higher than beets. When you cook spinach and then store it in the fridge, nitrate levels remain stable. But the real problem arises when you reheat that spinach, especially in the microwave. At warm temperatures, bacteria such as Pseudomonas aeruginosa, commonly found on leafy greens, can convert nitrates to nitrites, a process called nitrate reduction. Nitrites themselves may seem harmless in small amounts, but in the aging body they can. Promote the formation of nitrosamines, compounds associated with DNA damage. Increase oxidative stress, where your body struggles to fight off cell damage. Damage microvascular tissues, especially in fragile areas like the retina. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 2020, found that higher dietary nitrite intake correlated with a 31% increased risk of retinal thinning in adults over 65. And that's not theoretical. I've seen it. The retina, the light-sensitive layer at the back of your eye, is supplied by capillaries thinner than a strand of hair. These blood vessels have no regenerative capacity. Once damaged, they don't heal. That's why conditions like macular degeneration or hypertensive retinopathy can be so devastating and irreversible. The Age-Related Eye Disease Study 2, AREDS2, conducted by the National Eye Institute, found that oxidative damage is the primary trigger in early retinal disease. And what contributes most to oxidative overload in older adults? Processed nitrates, poor antioxidant intake, and chronic inflammation. Reheated spinach checks all 3 boxes when mismanaged. How do you know if it's affecting you? Here are early signs that something as simple as reheated greens might be impacting your eyes. A halo or glare when looking at headlights at night. Needing brighter light to read books or labels. Blurry central vision, especially in sunlight. eye fatigue or soreness after only 10 to 15 minutes of focus, feeling like there's a film over your eyes that glasses don't fix. These aren't just age. These are signals. You don't need to give up spinach. Just handle it smartly. Cook only what you'll eat immediately. Leftovers? Stick to other low-nitrate veggies like bell peppers or carrots. Never reheat spinach more than once. Each reheat raises nitrite conversion risk. Switch to steaming kale, bok choy, or mustard greens, lower in nitrates, high in lutein, and safer when stored. Boost antioxidant protection daily. Add red bell peppers, vitamin C, tomatoes, lycopene, and nuts, vitamin E, to help neutralize oxidative stress. Pair greens with fat. A splash of olive oil makes eye protective nutrients more absorbable. Let's move on to vegetable 2. Raw garlic. It's just garlic. It's natural. That's true. But natural doesn't always mean safe, especially when you're over 60, taking medications, and trying to protect your vision. Garlic contains allicin, a sulfur compound that forms when you crush or chop raw garlic. Allicin has powerful antiplatelet effects, meaning it slows down blood clotting. According to a review published in the Journal of Nutrition, 2020, garlic supplements can reduce platelet aggregation by 25 to 45%, depending on the dose and the form, raw, aged extract, or capsule. In a double-blind clinical trial conducted at UCLA, researchers found that subjects who consumed 900 millisimoles of garlic extract daily for 12 weeks showed significantly prolonged bleeding time compared to the placebo group. While that might sound beneficial for heart health, it comes with a catch. If you're already on anticoagulant drugs like aspirin, warfarin, Coumadin, or Plavix, you're doubling up on blood-thinning effects. That's where the eyes become especially vulnerable. The retina is one of the most delicate areas in the human body. It's fed by capillaries that are thinner than a strand of hair. When blood becomes too thin, or when capillary walls are weakened, even mild increases in pressure can cause microhemorrhages, tiny internal bleeds. These can lead to sudden floaters, spots, or bugs drifting in vision. Flashing lights in peripheral vision, blurred or clouded vision. In some cases, vitreous hemorrhage, where blood leaks into the center of the eye. A 2022 article from the American Journal of Ophthalmology noted a 37% increase in spontaneous retinal hemorrhage among seniors who were taking both natural anticoagulants, like garlic or ginkgo, and prescribed blood thinners. Let me tell you about Mr. Richard S., 70 years old, a retired mechanic from Texas. He came into my clinic complaining of strange flashing lights in one eye and tiny black bugs floating across his vision. He wasn't diabetic, no high blood pressure, but he was taking 1 aspirin daily plus a raw garlic supplement he ordered online, labeled 2,000 mg allicin per serving. After a retinal scan, we found signs of bleeding inside the vitreous chamber of his eye. He didn't need surgery, but it took months of rest and treatment for the bleeding to clear. The most concerning part? He had no idea garlic could do that. According to the National Institutes of Health, NIH, the safe upper limit for garlic is no more than 1 clove per day for most adults, roughly 4 grams of raw garlic. However, many garlic supplements exceed this dose by 2x to 5x, and raw garlic smoothies, cleanses, or capsules can push the intake even higher, often without any medical supervision. The American Academy of Family Physicians also warns that aged adults using herbal supplements should be screened for possible herb-drug interactions, especially for products like garlic, turmeric, and ginkgo, all of which increase bleeding risk. Safe solutions. You don't have to give up garlic, but use it smartly. Stick to 1 clove of cooked garlic per day in food. Avoid raw garlic on an empty stomach or in smoothies. Do not combine garlic supplements with blood-thinning meds unless cleared by a doctor. Cook your garlic lightly. Sautéing reduces allicin by about 90%, lowering risk but preserving flavor. If you already take blood thinners, ask your physician before adding any natural supplement. Even garlic, vegetable 3s, is very familiar, and I'm almost certain it's sitting in your fridge right now. Raw kale. Kale has become a symbol of healthy living in America. You see it in green smoothies, salads, even snack chips. But there's a catch. Raw kale is extremely high in oxalates, natural compounds that bind tightly to minerals like calcium, zinc, and magnesium, making them nearly impossible for your body to absorb. That means even if you're eating well, your body, especially your eyes, may not be getting the nutrition they need. According to the USDA Food Database, 1 cup, about 67 g, of raw kale contains between 150 to 200 milliliters of oxalates, depending on soil and growing conditions. By comparison, that's more oxalate than in the same serving of spinach, a vegetable already well known for its anti-nutrient content. The Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health confirms that oxalates block zinc absorption by up to 40% in high oxalate diets, a serious issue as zinc is vital for retinal health and immune function. Zinc also helps the body transport vitamin A to the retina, the vitamin directly responsible for vision clarity, low light sight, and protection against macular degeneration. Your macula, the center of the retina, needs a constant supply of lutein, zeaxanthin, zinc, and calcium to maintain clear central vision. But when these nutrients are chronically blocked or flushed out, you may begin to experience a gritty or tired feeling in the eyes, increased glare and light sensitivity, slow adjustment between light and dark settings, blurred edges when reading, and in the long term, early age-related macular degeneration, AMD. A 2021 clinical study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that seniors with high oxalate intake but low bioavailable zinc were 3.1 times more likely to show early signs of AMD compared to those with balanced mineral absorption. Linda was a retired graphic designer. No chronic disease, exercised daily, and ate clean. Her breakfast every day? A large smoothie with raw kale, spinach, almond milk, and frozen mango. She started noticing that sunlight felt too bright, especially when driving. Reading street signs became difficult. Her optometrist ruled out cataracts. She came to my clinic for a deeper look. Blood work showed low normal zinc and calcium, and an OCT scan revealed mild thinning in the macula, despite her textbook perfect lifestyle. The likely cause? Too much raw kale and spinach every morning, every week. We switched her to steamed greens, reduced smoothie frequency, and boosted her zinc-rich foods like eggs, pumpkin seeds, and chickpeas. Within 8 weeks, her eye strain lessened, and she reported sharper contrast and better low-light vision. A 2019 study in the Journal of Renal Nutrition warned that adults over 60 are especially vulnerable to oxalate-related calcium deficiency, even without kidney problems. According to the National Institutes of Health, diets high in oxalates may contribute to subclinical mineral depletion, especially in populations that already have reduced stomach acid or gut absorption, common in older adults. The Age-Related Eye Disease Study, AREDS2, the largest vision health study ever done in the U.S., emphasized that lutein, zeaxanthin, zinc, and vitamin C are essential to delay or prevent AMD. But oxalates block absorption of many of these when consumed raw and in excess. Practical tips to make kale safe and effective. Steam your kale for 3 to 5 minutes. Research in Food Chemistry 2020 shows this reduces oxalates by up to 64%, while keeping most antioxidants intact. Add olive oil or avocado. Healthy fats. Boost lutein and carotenoid absorption up to 4x. Avoid eating raw kale with other high oxalate foods like spinach, almonds, or beet greens in the same meal. Switch up your greens. Use arugula, romaine, butter lettuce, or collards, which are lower in oxalates but rich in eye nutrients. If you use smoothies, limit to 2 to 3 times per week, and consider blanching your greens before blending. To vegetable 4, that we need to pay attention to: canned corn. Corn is a staple in many American homes. It's nostalgic, inexpensive, and comforting. But when it comes to eye health, not all corn is created equal. Fresh corn is a natural source of lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 carotenoids that protect the retina, especially the macula, from oxidative stress and harmful blue light. These compounds act like internal sunglasses, filtering UV and preventing photoreceptor damage. But here's the problem. The industrial canning process, which includes blanching, high-heat sterilization, and extended shelf storage, destroys 35% to 70% of lutein and zeaxanthin content. According to a study in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry, 2018, canned corn had 63% lower lutein content compared to freshly boiled corn, and over 70% less zeaxanthin. That's a huge loss, especially when you're relying on those nutrients to protect aging eyes. What makes canned corn even worse is what gets added back in. Most commercially canned corn contains 300 to 450 milligrams of sodium per half cup serving, up to 8 grams of added sugars, often listed as corn syrup solids, glucose fructose, or sweet kernel. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, recommends no more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day for older adults, and just 2 servings of canned corn could easily take up 60% of that limit. High sodium intake raises blood pressure, which in turn can damage the tiny capillaries in the retina. Over time, this can lead to hypertensive retinopathy, a condition that restricts oxygen delivery to the back of the eye, causing blurry vision, floaters, and even vision loss. Meanwhile, the added sugars in canned corn increase systemic inflammation, which weakens connective tissue around the optic nerve and may contribute to conditions like glaucoma or diabetic eye disease, even in non-diabetics. A 2021 meta-analysis published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that adults over 60 who consumed high-sugar, low-carotenoid diets had a 68% higher risk of developing moderate to severe age-related macular degeneration, AMD, over a 10-year period. Mr. Allen was doing everything right. No smoking, walked daily, took his eye vitamins. But over the past year, he started noticing he couldn't read small fonts, even with new glasses. Light from oncoming cars during night drives began to blur. He chalked it up to age. But when we ran retinal imaging, OCT, we saw thinning in the macular layers, classic early AMD. His blood pressure was borderline high. His diet? Pretty simple. Lots of canned soups, canned beans, and canned sweet corn 5 to 6 nights a week. The problem wasn't just the missing antioxidants, it was the accumulated salt and sugar over months and years, putting constant pressure on his retinal vessels. We made a few simple changes. Replaced canned corn with frozen sweet corn, steamed or lightly sautéed. Added eggs, spinach, and avocado for extra lutein and healthy fats. Cut sodium by switching to no salt added versions of his favorite canned goods. After 6 months, his vision stabilized, and night driving got easier again. What can you do today? Choose frozen over canned. Frozen corn retains 60 to 80% more lutein and zeaxanthin and doesn't have added sodium or sugar. If you use canned corn, look for no salt added and no sugar added on the label. Rinse under cold water for 30 seconds to remove excess sodium. Eat corn with healthy fats, like olive oil, avocado, or eggs. This increases absorption of eye protective carotenoids by up to 4x, according to Harvard Health. Add foods rich in lutein. Egg yolks, red bell peppers, kale, cooked, and pumpkin limit canned corn to 1-2 servings per week, especially if you have high blood pressure or any vision issues. Vegetable 5. Pickled vegetables. Pickled vegetables, like cucumbers, cabbage, sauerkraut, beets, daikon radish, or even pickled garlic, are beloved in many American households. They taste sharp, refreshing, and nostalgic. But for people over 60, these sour little bites can be surprisingly harmful, especially to your eyes. Let's start with the sodium problem. A single spear of dill pickle can contain 400–800 milligrams of sodium, depending on the brand and preparation. A half cup of sauerkraut? Around 700 milligrams. That's almost half the daily sodium limit recommended by the American Heart Association for adults over 60, which is 1,500 milligrams per day. And most people don't stop at 1 serving. Your retina, the delicate layer at the back of your eye, is filled with microscopic capillaries that bring oxygen and nutrients to light-sensitive cells. When blood pressure rises, even slightly, it puts mechanical stress on these fragile vessels. Over time, this can lead to capillary rupture, retinal hemorrhages, tiny bleeds in the eye, reduced blood flow to the optic nerve, hypertensive retinopathy, which causes blurry vision and may lead to permanent vision loss. A 2020 study published in the American Journal of Ophthalmology found that older adults with high sodium intake were 2.3 times more likely to have signs of retinal vessel damage, including microaneurysms and narrowing of arterioles. Another 2019 study in the Journal of Human Hypertension noted that a consistent sodium intake above 3,000 ml a day increases the risk of developing hypertensive eye disease by 42%, especially when combined with age-related arterial stiffness. Most store-bought pickled vegetables also include artificial dyes like yellow-na-5, which have been linked to inflammatory responses, preservatives such as sodium benzoate or potassium metabisulfite, refined sugars, especially in sweet pickles, with up to 9 to 12 of-g in sugar per serving. These additives don't just affect digestion, they raise systemic inflammation, increasing oxidative stress in vascular tissue, including the retina and optic nerve. According to a review from Harvard Health Publishing, 2022, diets high in preservatives and artificial additives are linked to higher levels of C-reactive protein, CRP, a marker of inflammation correlated with greater risk of age-related macular degeneration, AMD. How to enjoy pickled foods without harming your eyes. You don't have to give up the tangy flavors. Just make smarter choices. Limit pickled vegetables to 1–2 servings per week. Use vinegar-based recipes with fresh herbs and cut the salt by 50%. Always read labels. Look for low sodium and no artificial preservatives. Eat pickled foods with potassium-rich meals, like baked sweet potato, avocado, spinach, or bananas, which help counterbalance sodium's effect on blood vessels. Stay hydrated. Proper water intake helps maintain healthy blood pressure and circulation to the eyes. If possible, ferment your own vegetables. Fermentation boosts gut health and requires less salt when managed properly. Now that you've seen the hidden dangers behind these 5 common vegetables, reheated spinach, raw garlic in high doses, uncooked kale, canned corn, and pickled veggies, it's time to rethink what we put on our plates. These aren't exotic or unfamiliar foods. They're staples. But for those of us over 60, the way we prepare and consume them can quietly shape our vision, blood vessels, and long-term health. Don't wait until symptoms show up. Small changes today can protect your eyesight tomorrow. Steam your greens. Limit the pickles. Cut back on salt. And talk to your doctor about how your diet may be interacting with your medications, especially if you're taking blood thinners or managing high blood pressure. You deserve to enjoy your golden years with clarity, confidence, and independence. So take the time to care for your eyes. They're the windows to every beautiful moment ahead. And before we go, if you found this helpful, please don't forget to like this video, share it with someone you love, and subscribe to Elderly Health Tips for more science-backed advice to help you stay strong, sharp, and well-informed. Your support truly makes a difference.